Here's my opiate story. I started smoking weed at 13 years old. I got caught using cannabis. My parents wanted me to stop immediately, said they were going to drug test me. Friend comes over with a bottle that says controlled and dangerous substance. Hey, this must be the same thing as weed, but it won't come up on a test for it. It's OxyContin. This thing stole my youth from me. I stayed taking pills. I moved on to Percocets, the yellow bananas that we would call them. And if you're a pillhead, you know exactly what I'm describing. And it took my youth from me. I spent a very, very, very long time addicted to it. I would use it every single day. I'm surprised I haven't destroyed my liver by this point. My life slowed to a crawl. And not just because of the drugs, but it felt like I never really had a chance to be me. And a thing I say recently is I feel like I spent my 20s not free. Not just because of the drugs, but like the drugs kept me in a fucked up place. And when I say drugs, it's mostly opiates. Like that's what I had the problem with. And the thing that took me from like being in denial and using this every day was probably two things. One, I had run out of plugs. It was becoming increasingly hard for me to get. Government knew that there was an opiate epidemic and they were making it harder on people to get. And so I found somebody who had just gotten out of jail. And they were telling me to go to Newark, New Jersey, which especially, I don't know how it is these days, but going back 14, whatever it is, 16 years now at this point, is a really bad place. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm just gonna go and get robbed. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Around the same time, there's a friend of mine that I smoke weed with that happened to know that I had some pills on me. And I was like, oh man, I used to take those and have a little bit of a problem with it, but not anymore. Could you spare two? And I said, yeah, sure, why not? And that thing, when I left, the thing she told me kept repeating in my head over and over and over again. I used to have a problem with these, but not anymore. Could you spare two? And I left feeling like, oh my God, not only am I destroying my life, but I'm destroying the life of people around me. Like, I potentially flung that person into a completely different life trajectory just by sharing that with them. And I had awareness over it now, an awareness I didn't have when I was a teenager who was just getting these free drugs from the people around me, from their grandparents' cupboards. And so I get to this point where this is weighing heavy on me. I'm about to go to these dangerous places to get pills. This addiction is potentially spreading over to people I know. And I look up on the New York City subway and I see something that was like, are you addicted to X drugs, cocaine, this or that? Give us a call. And I called that number for a while. It was really hard to get a hold of them. Like I had many low moments that when the moment was low, I would just try to reach them. And eventually one day they called me back, and that program was Columbia University, a really accredited university in New York City. And it was their STARS program. And I go into this program, and as I go in there, they're interviewing me and they tell me that this program has three options. Option number one, you use Suboxone. Option number two is Marinol. And then there's a third option, nothing. We're gonna give you 1 day of Suboxone. All three of these, they are giving you an anti-opiate shot, so your body can't even produce its own opiates. It's the worst pain I think I've ever felt in my life, close to. They knew that I was consuming cannabis, and so they said, listen, we don't have enough data. This is what they told me, like I don't know what made it back to their back office. But they said, we don't have enough data on people using natural cannabis to try to quit opiates. So we kind of want to throw you into this third program, and we're encouraging you to use cannabis on your own. Report back to us what you use, how you use. But that's what we're going to throw you into, is the harshest one of them. No support, no tether, the support is on me. Now, I'm very lucky that around this time was the time that I learned how to dab, because these are some of the worst pains I have ever felt in my life, especially with the anti-opiate shot. I mean, I'm talking about like when you finally are feeling little enough pain to go to sleep, every time your body enters REM sleep, you get these shocks and these kicks that wake you out of bed. And the psychosis is incredible. Like somebody's body going through that level of pain will just wear on you. It surprises me not at all that a lot of people relapse or kill themselves during this period because it is treacherous. And I use dabs, and I can honestly say the dabs got me off of opiates. I successfully completed that program, but the story isn't over yet. When I successfully completed that program, that happened to be in Columbia University. which is in Washington Heights in New York City. It is right near a bridge that will take you to New Jersey. And I happen to have a friend who lived there, and I would walk over that bridge all the time to go see them and smoke with them and hang. And what am I doing right after I completed this program is I'm gonna go and celebrate with my friend. I just completed this. And as I get into Fort Lee, New Jersey, I get stopped for jaywalking. And the dude searches my pocket and he finds 2 joints. And then he goes through my backpack and he finds my release paperwork for the program. And it says something along the lines of like, you just got out and you're already smoking drugs, you fucking addict. What's wrong with you? They charged me with distribution. Now I'm facing 1 to 3 years in jail for using the recommended substance that got me off of a pretty much lifelong addiction. And I'm losing my mind. I don't know what to do. I'm like in shambles. I genuinely think I'm gonna go to jail. I've been arrested for cannabis before. This one seems bad, man. Like, these fucking cops hate me. And like, they're really trying to make it hard for me. And so what am I gonna do? I'm talking to my lawyer and I'm like, he's like, you should like go into a program. Like, you should go and quit weed and show that like you're fixing your life, because that's what the judge and everyone is gonna wanna see. And so here I am back at the STARS Columbia program. Hey guys, do you have a program for weed? Yeah, we have a program for weed. Can I talk? Can I see if I can get in there? Like, I have to get off of this. Like, it's destroying my life. I'm gonna go to jail for 1 to 3 years, man. Like, that shit ain't small, bro. Don't let no tough motherfucker tell you that like you wanna be in prison for 1 to 3 years, that it ain't no thing, man. Like, nobody deserves that. Nobody. And I go into the program. And in that program, I am being interviewed by a psychiatrist who determines whether you get in or not. And he asked me a lot of questions. And the questions are like, do you think people are constantly plotting against you? Are you stealing for it? Have you lost a job because of cannabis? Like a whole long series of determining, is this something that you are addicted to and it's destroying your life? And it still stings. I still remember how I felt when I got this decision from him. It hurt so bad. I felt so helpless. He said, I can't admit you into the program. And I can't admit you into the program because you do not have an issue with the consumption of cannabis. You have an issue with the legality of cannabis. I see no addictive behavior in how you use it. It does not seem to negatively affect your life. In fact, it seems to really help your depression a ton. You potentially going to jail for 1 to 3 years does not make you an addict. And I don't think you are one, so I can't admit you. And I felt broken. I felt like, oh my God, the state is trying to take my freedom for something the doctors say I'm not even addicted to, that isn't even bad for me. So to kind of wrap it up, what happened and like close this story out, somehow I got very lucky in that case. They put me on probation. The cops were real unhappy. I remember when the judge made the decision, the cops ran up like, what do you mean? They were like, it was weird, man. Some real small town shit. But I ended up getting probation for whatever amount of time. I forgot exactly what went, for what amount of time, what the terms were. But after that, and very shortly after that probation was over, and even during, right? Because like I was very much on this journey of like wax pens and dabs and everything else. I found puffco right after. And that's the most fucked up thing, right? Like opiates are potentially a critical part of my story of turning to dabs for medicine and for being a new part of my life. And then weirdly enough, getting arrested, being told like I don't really have an addiction with this, gave me the room to start puffco. If things went any differently, if I got admitted into that program, I probably would not have smoked again. I never would have wanted to face 1 to 3 years in jail again. And I probably would have to go on an SSRI or something else for my depression and live a completely different life. But he denied me because that was the right thing for him to do. And in turn, I have a life that has been dedicated to cannabis. I have a life that has been healed by cannabis. And all this came because of that story. So if I was a time traveler, I couldn't even go back and say, I wish I could have done it different. I wish I could have consoled that young guy, 27, 28 years old, whatever I was, when he found out that the state is after him and the doctors won't help. Um, but I also know I wouldn't be here if that's the case. So I appreciate my journey very much. But I'm saying this so you guys know. There are things that I experienced leading up to getting off of opiates that you might. I thought I would never be funny again. I thought there were personal parts of my life, a little too transparent, my sex life, that would change. There were so many things that I thought opiates made good. I would have never imagined that all those things would be better once I was past it. The friends I have, the life I live, I couldn't have imagined this on opiates. Traveling the world, smoking hash, finding the best humans I have ever found in my life. I'm surrounded by love. I'm surrounded by friends. I'm surrounded by family. I'm surrounded by opportunity. And I don't think a single part of that would have been possible if I was still on opiates. So if you're watching this and you're there, I know it's hard. I know it seems impossible. I hope this nudges you in the right direction. One of the most freeing moments of my life was when I called up my mom and I called up my brothers and I said, I'm so sorry I've been lying to you. I've been an addict for a very long time. It was one of the heaviest moments of my life. And it felt so freeing to say, like, I probably wasn't the best person in the world because of this, but I'm not running from these lies anymore. Like, I want you guys to hold me accountable. And they did. They showered me with support. But if you're experiencing this now, you're not weak, you're not alone, you haven't fucked up your life, man. I went through all this shit at like 27, 28 years old. Puffco came after. And if that happened at 38 years old, I'd be certain that the best part of my life is in front of me. So if you still suffer from this, please reach out and get help. There's a lot of programs around. There's a lot of people that want to help you. You might know somebody that got past it, and you can't do it alone. If I tried to do this journey in silence, I would have failed. My family, my friends, my community kept me accountable. I'm gonna wrap it there. It's a heavy one, and I kind of need a break. I didn't want to derail this, but fuck, it just kept coming up. So if you are in a cycle of addiction, opiates or anything else, I want to let you know that your life is truly free when you're not tethered to addiction. And if you can get the help, if you have the opportunities to get past it, I think the best part of your life is in front of you. And if this helped you in any way, throw me a DM and let me know. It makes me feel really good for sharing my story, because it's not easy to, not because I'm embarrassed by it, just a little tough to relive all of that. So build me up and let me know that you're getting better. It will make me really happy.